Now, last week, Donald Trump told Bloomberg News in an interview that 9/11 happened under the administration of George W. Bush. Trump had said, quote, he was president, okay? Don't blame him or don't blame him, but he was president. The World Trade Center came down during his reign. Now, that's true, and of course, that led his brother, Jeb, and his opponent in the 2016 primary to call Trump's comments pathetic. Now, those two fighting, that's not really a big surprise, right? They are rivals, after all, and they really don't like each other. Really don't like each other. But I have to say, Trump actually brings up a perfectly valid point, which is true. George W. Bush absolutely did not keep us safe on 9/11. It happened under his watch. Now, of course, that's not going to fly well with the people over at Fox News, who are kind of caught in the middle between this fight between the establishment Republican, Jeb Bush, and their favorite, Donald Trump. So the geniuses over at Fox and Friends have decided that they would figure out a way to solve this little conflict and figure out who the real person to blame is.
Okay, so Donald Trump doubling down on his 9/11 comments about George W. Bush, our former president, and the 9/11 terror attacks. He said that he, Donald Trump, could have stopped the hijackers by closing our borders, and President Bush was to blame. Watch.
Am I trying to blame him? I'm not blaming anybody. But the World Trade Center came down. So when he said we were safe, that's not safe. We lost 3,000 people. It was one of the greatest, probably the greatest catastrophe ever in this country, if you think about it, right?
What would you have done?
Well, I would have been much different, I must tell you. Somebody said, well, it wouldn't have been any different. Well, it would have been. I am extremely, extremely tough on illegal immigration. I'm extremely tough on people coming into this country. I believe that if I were running things, I doubt those families would have, I doubt that those people would have been in the country.
In reality, though, you have to think about 2001 when we walked in when the president walked into his 4 years in office. Al Gore and George Bush weren't even debating Al Qaeda, even though bin Laden declared war to us in 1996. And most of those hijackers had overstayed their visas. So unless he came in and the first thing that President Trump would have done is said, I need the CIA to talk to the FBI.
Immediately.
I need you to mix and match and merge lists and find out if there's anybody here who have overstayed their visas. That was not the talk of the country because we were on the air at that time. And in 1996, he declared war on us. So you might be madder, Donald Trump, and we're going to ask him in an hour, at Bill Clinton for not taking a legitimate shot at somebody who declared war on us in the 90s.
You're right.
Wow. That would be funny if it weren't stupid. And also about the deaths of 3,000 Americans. Now, this guy, Kilmeade, do you seriously want to blame Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton. Now, Bill Clinton, let me give you some history, since obviously you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. In 1998, Bill Clinton ordered missile attacks against Al-Qaeda training camps in Afghanistan. Yeah. He actually was literally bombing Al-Qaeda in 1998. So, yes, he was responding to that declaration of war in 1996. But apparently, you must have missed that. You must have missed that. Now, not only that, but this is an administration, the Clinton administration, that made sure to let the Bush administration that was incoming, right, know that, hey, you need to watch out for that bin Laden guy. We've been bombing him. He's kind of a threat. He's kind of pissed, right? And in fact, back in 2001, Clinton said this, quote, in his campaign, Bush said that he thought the biggest security issue was Iraq and the national missile defense. I told him that, in my opinion, the biggest security problem was Osama bin Laden. That's the guy who they want to blame. That's the guy who they want to blame for 9/11. Are you serious? Which, by the way, when 9/11 happened, Clinton had been out of office for almost a year. Almost a year. That's sort of like blaming Obama for the 2008 financial meltdown, which, oh, right. They do blame him for that. Or at least they blame the government for that. It's crazy. Now, there is one piece of information that makes them somewhat partially, possibly, maybe right. And this is this, right? Now, there was one chance where Bill Clinton had the opportunity to kill bin Laden. He did. Now, according to data, right? according to a Clinton speech, that Clinton did, and the audio came out last year, and this has been known for a while. He was in Australia, and this audio was captured by Sky News, saying that, quote, "I nearly got him and I could have killed him," referring, of course, to bin Laden. "But I would have had to destroy a little town called Kandahar in Afghanistan and kill 300 innocent men and women and children. And then I would have been no better than him. So I didn't do it." Bin Laden was reportedly, according to intelligence at the time, bin Laden was hiding in Kandahar in 1998. Now, conservatives will look at the situation and say, why didn't you just bomb him? Who cares about innocent women and children? Who cares? Who cares? 300 Muslims? Bomb away, man. Bombs away. Why didn't you go after him? Because then it led to the deaths of 3,000 Americans later, as if Bill Clinton knew that was going to happen. As if he knew what was going to happen. No. Besides, in the 9/11 report, it was written that, quote, "the principal's wariness about ordering a strike appears to have been vindicated. Bin Laden left his room unexpectedly, and if a strike had been ordered, he would not have been hit." That's according to the 9/11 Commission. So even if he had ordered the strike, well, there's no chance, there's no real certainty that bin Laden would have been killed by the strike anyway. Now, he had another chance, supposedly, in 1999, but the intelligence there was also sketchy. And they didn't act because they were wary about bombing innocent people. I know, right? An administration that's actually wary about bombing the wrong people? Boy, I wish we had that now. Wouldn't that be nice? How quaint. How quaint. So, even though he didn't get bin Laden, it's not that Bill Clinton hadn't tried and hadn't weighed the risks and benefits. But of course, conservatives don't care. They don't care about hitting innocent people. Because as a conservative, well, innocent Muslims, they don't actually exist. So they don't really care. And none of this shifts the blame away from 9/11 away from Bush. Bush still ignored all that intelligence. Ignored the bin Laden determined to strike U.S. briefings. Ignored the warnings from Bill Clinton to focus on bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. And finally, the actions after the fact of not worrying about bin Laden and instead going after Iraq and Saddam Hussein for no reason. But hey, let's ignore the facts, ignore the nuance, ignore everything that doesn't fit with our already preconceived notions and narrative, and attack Democrats because that's exactly what we're here for. That is our number one purpose. It's not to inform you, it is to attack Democrats, liberals, and people that don't agree with us. That's why Fox News is nothing more than a propaganda arm of the Republican Party. And propaganda, deception, and lies are what they do best. Find the facts, and don't be fooled.